Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. I think we can start now. So welcome everyone to the second session of the IFOM examination preparation series for batch 2025. I hope you're having a good summer break. So just a recap for what we had last week. Remember when we started the sessions and provided tips about how you can prepare for your exam in this short period of time. And we also demonstrated there are some resources that you can count on. And therefore, we are on this session that is mainly about resource administration. So last week, we really mentioned some resources that you all can really try and see. And we also mentioned that the study plan can be personalized. So you really have, you ought to choose whatever suits you in terms of price, the plan of whatever this resource really includes. Okay, so these were some of the recommendations presented last week. And upon your request, we are today presenting the three resources that you guys asked for a detailed explanation about how we can use them, their features and subscription and so on. So this, inshallah, will be tackling on today. But please remember that your study plan is totally personalized. So what you can see here is a lot of list of resources, but at the end of the day, it's your call to choose what suits you more. So do not distract yourself with multiple resources. Choose 2, 3, 4 max of them so that you can really make the maximum benefit of each resource. So today we will be, inshallah, tackling in our session an ANKI guide, demonstration from downloading and how you can use it and etc. Of course, Rizq will talk you through it, the ANKI master. And then we will be talking about AMBOSS. I'll take you through the setup, the study features, and so more. And I have got you a small gift from AMBOSS. And then our colleague Ammar will take you through the top recommended resource for you, USMLE step 1, that is the UWORLD, how you can make the benefit, the most benefit out of it, and so much features that you can all guys use. And so now I'll leave the floor to my colleague Rizq. Rizq, the floor is yours.
Hello, thank you for the wonderful introduction, Joaher. So I'll be talking today regarding ANKI, as Joaher mentioned. So without further ado, let's get started. By the way, my name is Rizq Harani. I'm a first-year medical student, part of Medical Leavers. Hopefully you will have a great, wonderful time with me today. So before I start, I would like to give a special thanks to a person called the ANKI. He really taught me everything I knew. His YouTube videos and his resources definitely guided me through like the confusion, which is ANKI. In addition, like he provided the add-ons and the decks I recommended if you watch my installation video, and he quite diligently updates it regularly. And yeah, so if you want to know it, or if you want to learn directly from the source itself, you can go to his YouTube video or his website linked here. I will send the presentation later for you guys, but for now it's here. However, I will be just summarizing what I learned and what I taught and giving you the quite simply the what need to know, right? So generally today I'll be starting is what is ANKI itself, how does ANKI work, explanation of the settings, as well as how can you incorporate ANKI into your study schedule. So generally, what is ANKI, right? Quite simply, it's a program where it holds and displays flashcards. That's it. Yeah, it's basically a program, a bucket of flashcards. So then everybody's saying, oh, it's a must resource. Then what is so special about it if it just holds and displays flashcards? Well, it's how it displays these flashcards is what's make it so special. It uses a concept called spaced repetition. So what is spaced repetition, you might ask? So when we must read this graph intimately and understand what it means. So generally, when you learn a resource or anything, you tend to forget that resource. So over time, over the span of days, your retention rate actually decreases. So quite simply, as time goes on, you're more likely to forget. So you're less likely to remember the things that you just learned. However, if you review these materials that you have just studied, your retention rate goes straight back up, and you are more likely to remember. So it's quite logical, right? So the more you review, the more likely you remember. But there's something special about us humans, a phenomenon, right? It's not only that you are more likely to remember, you're also less likely to forget. So in reality, your curve, what we would call your forgetting curve, right, would actually become more steep. In what that means basically is that it will take more time to forget the resource you actually learned at the same given date. For example, your forgetting curve becomes more steep, so basically it will take more days for you to forget the same amount. So as you can see, spaced repetition by its name, your reviews are actually increased according to that new forgetting curve, right? So as the more you learn, the steeper your forgetting curve is, the less time, the less the less you need to revise, right? So the interval between each revision can be increased. So that's basically how ANKI uses this concept to properly space each review session, right? So properly space each review card. So the more you review properly and you learn and you got, for example, the card correct, the more it spaces it because you are less likely to forget it, and it will increase the interval and give you the card at a later date. Now, generally, this is the concept that it uses, right? But how does ANKI actually do it, right? What is the ANKI algorithm? So this is how we can learn. So I'm gonna simplify it like physically, because it's all done in the background through programs or like codes. But like if you understand it physically, you'll understand it much more better and clear in your head. So let's assume you have a box, and this box represents your new cards. It stores all your new cards. And let's assume we also have two different boxes. We call them the learning boxes. And we have one more box called the review box, right? And these are the transitions your card will pass through each box over time. And we'll understand it now. Between your new and your learning boxes, you have something called the learning line, right? And between your learning boxes and your review boxes, you have something called the graduation line. Now, if you notice, your learning line is a solid line. Quite simply, it means that once a new card passes into the learning boxes, it can never go back to a new card, or can never go back to the new boxes. Basically, it's logic, right? Once you open up a card, or once you learn the card, it will never be new, all right? So, but if a learning card becomes a review card, or it moves from the learning box to the review box, it's considered to be graduated, right? And however, because it's dotted, it means that there is a possibility of the card going back to becoming a learning card, right? And we'll see how that happens in the coming slides. Okay, there's one more box. Okay, I lied. There's not four boxes. There's 5 boxes. There's one more box. Actually, this box is basically I consider it as storage. You know, for anyone who watched my ANKI tutorial, you can see that I suspended cards. Right? What does suspension mean? Suspension means you take the cards in your box and you put it into storage. Bus. So if you in the deck that I recommend, there's around 43,254 cards that is suspended. So basically, I put all these cards into storage. And if you go back to the main page of ANKI, you'll see that you'll have actually 0 cards. It means that there's no cards available, and it makes sense because like we don't want all the cards to come all at once. And you'll understand now how it is integrated into your study later. So now for the sake of example, let's assume we unsuspended one card. We remove one card from the storage and we put it into the new box. And then there's one more tidbit you have to know. So why do we have 2 boxes in the learning? Why just not one? Because each box have a specific time interval. So basically, if this card was found to be in this first box, then the card will come to you at 25-minute intervals. If this card was found in this box, then this card will come to you at 1-day intervals. And if this card goes to this box, it will come to you in 3-day intervals. This will, I know it sounds a little confusing, but it will become more clear now, like as we go through. So this is for the card, right? For the sake of the batch of 2025, because this is mainly because they're having their IFOM this year, and they just finished their MSK resource, the MSK block. So let's get an MSK. I unlocked an MSK card for you guys, all right? So I unsuspended one card. So the interosseous muscles of the hand, dab, and pad is innervated by which nerve? Now we all know it's an ulnar nerve, so we open it. Oh, it's the ulnar nerve, right? I got it correct. However, as you can see, right, this is for people who are not familiar with ANKI. This is a flashcard. This is one flashcard. So basically, as if a normal flashcard, you have a front and a back. The front is the question. The back is the answer usually. So this is the front of the card, which is the question, and this is the back of the card, which is the answers. And cool thing about ANKI, because it's all program, not physical written paper, we can add different resources into it. For example, this resource is the first aid resource, so it's usually already integrated into the deck. I recommend it. That's why it's 3 gigabytes, to be honest. So it has already integrated resources, and typically it's like associated with majority of the cards, not all of the cards, but it's there, so you can read up and revise upon it at your desire, yani, whenever you guys want. Now, as you can see, there's 3 buttons here, right? There's again, good, and easy. There's a hard button, but typically I ignore it because it's going to cause more confusion. Just during the learning phase, typically ignore the hard button. So you have the 3 buttons, again, good and easy. Okay, so what does this button do? From the intervals, you may guess. So people who are smart, they may guess what these buttons do. So I just unlocked a new card. I answered the new card. Hello. So it again actually puts the card into the first box. And if you remember correctly, the first box has what interval? It has a 25 minutes interval. So that's why it chose 25 minutes, because you're putting the card into the first box. Good puts it into the second box, and that's why it has the 1-day interval, because it's putting it in the second box. Easy actually automatically graduates the card into the review box and adds 1 day. So it's 3 days, right? If you remember, it's 3 days plus 1, so 4 days. Now let's say I am a 5th year medical student. MSK is 1.5 years, 1.5 already, 1.5 years ago. Nasi, I forgot that. I just delayed. I pressed again. I didn't know how to answer the question, the card. I pressed again, because I didn't know. So basically it moved the card from the first box to the second box. So now what we can do now, so to say learning the new cards, now we can study the learning cards, right? So what do we do? So if you remember, it goes to the first box. So when will the card come back to me again? It will come back to me after 25 minutes. So I go get a coffee, I come back, I open after 25 minutes, ANKI, I see a card ready for me. I click on it, the same exact card will show up, front and back, and has the same 3 buttons. Again, we'll put the card back in the same spot. It will not change. Good, we'll upgrade it from the first box to the second box. By the way, I'm saying boxes, but in reality, ANKI calls it steps. So for the people who want to go advanced, they are called steps, but boxes for the people who are understanding. It will move it from the first box to the second box. Easy moves it as the same as before. Moves it from the this box into the review box directly and adds 1 day, so 4 days. Okay. So now let's say after multiple tries, after multiple agains, right? I got the card finally correct. I pressed good. It will move it from the next box, this box to this box. Now, if you remember, when should the card come back to me again? After 1 day. So the next day comes, and I get the same card again. Now, as you can see, the interval changed slightly. Now it's because the good became 3 days, easy became still 4 days, and again becomes 30 minutes. 30 minutes here is this is due to some complicated, due to some like funny business of ANKI, but I don't want you to like think about it too hard, and I'll just show you what actually does what does again actually do. So in reality, so this card is in the second box. Again, actually just puts it back to the first box, which is 25 minutes, but it's 30 minutes because of ANKI weirdness, so just forget about it. Good graduates the card into the review box, which is what interval? 3-day interval. That's why you have 3 days in the demonstration above, or the version in the previous slide. Easy, the same thing. Graduates is also almost immediate and adds 1. So 3 days plus 1, 4 days. Okay. Hopefully everything makes sense to you up till now. Okay. Now I said I already like went through the card multiple times. I clicked good. Finally, it graduated. So when should the card come back to me again? After 3 days, because it's 3-day interval. So after 3 days, it comes back to me. Now you can see the interval has changed, but I'll explain now later. So now after 3 days came to me. What does the again button do? The again button actually puts it back to the first box, right? And now the first box is 30 minutes. Why? Because instead of the learning boxes now, we called it the relearning box, because until you technically graduated the card, you forgot the card, and now you're relearning it again. So it's different intervals, different steps, and ANKI takes it differently. So it goes back to the first box, which is 30 minutes, second box 1 day same, and then the third box is 3-day interval. So again, just brings it back to the first box. Good increases the interval. Hard, now hard, I said to you, forget about it, but the moment the card graduates and becomes a review card, then hard is slightly more useful, and you'll see why. Hard becomes what will it do? It will hardly increase the interval. It will increase the interval, but little. And easy will easily increase the interval. So it will increase the interval by a lot. However, hard and easy in the review phase and the review cards have a special function. It affects something called the card ease. Okay, and the card ease will be explained now. Just before this, so basically, just before we can explain the card ease, I want you to see the interval itself. So it was 3 days initially. If I click good, it will move the card from 3-day intervals to 7-day intervals. So it's a 7-day box, right? If I click hard, it will move it from a 3-day box into a 4-day box. And if I click easy, it will move from a 3-day box into a 9-day box. Like I hope like that makes sense. So it's all increased, but depending on which button it increases slightly different. Again, we'll move it back to the relearning phase, back to the first box, back to the first relearning box. So now what does easy and hard, what is this special functionality it has? So it affects something called the card ease. So each card has a property. It's called the easiness of the card. So basically, from the name, is how easy the card is. So generally, by default, I think it's 250%. If you click hard, it decreases this property. So from 250 it becomes 200. And if you click easy, it increases this. Now, if you click hard, it decreases the ease. And what does this ease do? Right? So the next time the card comes back again to you and you click good, now instead of increasing it by, for example, this one increased by 4 days, it increases by 3 days. Right, so it's more likely, so it will decrease the reward you get for each card, right, for each interval, because technically this card for you was hard because you forgot it, you took time to remember it. Either way, it took some time, so it becomes hard. So to increase the interval, it will reduce the amount of interval gained when you click good in the future, and that's it. Now, like you can say, it's like, oh my god, this is so much. Why? I don't, this is really, actually, this is not something you need to know, right? It's good to have in the back of your mind to understand the flow of how the cards move, but it's not really important in practice. In reality, khalas, you come, you do your cards, no matter what, and I sometimes I don't even notice the intervals, right? It's just, you come and answer depending on how you answer, and it all works out. ANKI does this, ANKI does this magic, everything passes smoothly. But now the fact that the reason why I'm teaching you this and emphasizing this is because I want you to show you the importance of following up with your cards. So this algorithm only works if you follow up with your cards. So after 3 days, and for example, if you click good and you graduated the card, after 3 days, you must do your cards. Otherwise, the algorithm is null, and you're wasting your time, to be honest, right? If you're just like skipping days and stuff like that, you're just wasting your time. You're not using the algorithm and spaced repetition as intended, and there's no other. So missing cards is really not an option unless very, very, very necessary. And then we'll explain, like, there's some ways to do it, but you have to go look on your own. Generally, a recommendation: try not to skip your cards. So now we understood it microscopically. We understood the algorithm. How can I incorporate this into my study? Generally, you have a normal workflow, right? So Anna, you watched the so basically going in line with the theme of 2025 batch finishing their MSK. Let's say I watched the Boards and Beyond knee anatomy video. Okay, you got a medal for it. You watched the video. Next, what you should do, right? If you want to go study through ANKI, you need to find the anatomy cards itself. So how do you find this anatomy Boards and Beyond anatomy cards? So first, this usually is the page when you open up ANKI directly. If you click browse, another window should open up to you. It usually is minimized, small, but you should try to maximize it. On your right is usually the card browser. So you can see this is each card, each like row is a card, and on the left is usually like filters and tags, right? So usually, and flags and your decks and whatever. Usually it's like all open. I want you to click each arrow and close it up, all of it, right? You'll notice one that's called tags. You click on the tags, you'll see 3 tags. You'll see the ANKI original decks, your step 1 V11 and your step 2 V11. Now, for the sake of the IFOM takers, we can focus on step 1. If you open up step 1, you'll see it's actually arranged according to resource, right? So it's AMBOSS, Boards and Beyond, Costanzo, First Aid, NBME, OME, Brenner, Pathoma, etc., etc. So for the sake of our example, we watched the Boards and Beyond video, we opened the Boards and Beyond. Even the resource itself, the way that ANKI arranged the video, arranged the cards, arranged according to the resource. So as you can see if you open the Boards and Beyond, it is split the same way you can see the Boards and Beyond videos are split. So you can see that the first is the basic pharma, second is behavioral, third is biochem. It's the same exact way. Now we want to go to the MSK. We look, we found the MSK. We open it up. Even the video, when you click MSK, it's separated into videos, right? Even when you open like MSK, it's separated into the videos, each one. So there's anatomy, then physiology, then whatever, depending on your block. It's even separated into that. And when you open it up, you can see it's even separated according to each video. So now we watched anatomy knee video. So we open up the first one, click, and we open up, we see like this separated according to video, and we watch the knee video, right? So we click on the knee. When you click on the knee, you have to click on the knee. Don't forget to click. Some people forget to click on the knee. You have to, or like some people forget to click on the source itself, because sometimes you have to click on it. So you click on it. On the right, it will display all the cards that are under the tags of ANKI step 1, Boards and Beyond, MSK, anatomy, knee. So on your right, you can see that this all are knee cards, specifically for the Boards and Beyond. How many cards are there? It's 74 cards. Okay, now we found the card, okay? So here is just indication. Now we found the card. Mabruk. We got another medal. Next, what should we do? Now we do the previewing the Boards and Beyond video. Now I recommend doing something called previewing, and I'll explain why. So why do we do previewing here? Or what is previewing? We will see now. So in a normal flashcard based workflow, like when you study typically and you make flashcards, you watch the knee video, you study the knee anatomy, you make flashcards based on this, and that typically has its own benefits, where you memorize, you understand, you write, and you pick the important points and it sticks in your head and whatnot, right? And use the flashcards to revise. Unfortunately, in the pre-made flashcards like workflow, you don't have that luxury. You don't have that luxury because you're not making your flashcard, it's already pre-made. So what can substitute it, right? What can we do to substitute this deficit? I usually recommend to preview the flashcards, right? And that basically subsidizes the make flashcards of the other workflow. So how do you preview the cards? So basically, another thing, the benefit of previewing the cards, since the fact that you didn't make the cards itself, it is quite tough to answer the cards itself because like you didn't make it. So the first time you'll answer and you go through the algorithm, it will like you'll not be able to answer it. Generally, that's the case, but sometimes most of the time not. But generally, I recommend to do it for multiple reasons and just one. So how do you do the previewing of the cards? First, we learned how to get to the knee, and we can see the cards here. We click on the first cards. So we click on the first card. Unfortunately, the cards are sorted by sort field, a header called sort field. We don't want this because it's not arranged logically. What I want to do is to arrange it according to time created. So we right click on the header. We get the created, we get like this tab, and we click on created. This will add another header, another column called created, and we want to arrange it from oldest to latest. And this basically quite simply because when the person is making the card, they make it according to logic, right? So imagine that I watch a person when ANKIing or the person who was making the cards was typing, they type based on the resource they went through. So it moves quite logically. So if you want to do it logically, you have to do it from oldest to latest. So you click on the first card. Then after that, you arrange it according to created. You click the first card. Then there's a button here called preview. And then when you click the preview button, it will show you like this small mini table of the front of the card and the back of the card. So this is, as you can see, there's no button, there's no again, there's no there's no again, there's no good, there's no hard, there's no easy. This is just for you to look at the card, understand it, take time to read the resources provided, and understand it properly before you start going through the algorithm I mentioned before. So, so that's it. So that's how you preview the cards, right? I have to preference this. This is not a necessary step, but it's a recommended step nonetheless. Next, we have to unsuspend the cards. So basically, you want to take it out from the storage and put it into the new card box. How do we do that? So we selected one of the cards. We click on one of the cards. We click Control A to select all of the cards. So you can see 74 of 74 selected. You click you click toggle suspend, and boom, it's all unsuspended. So now we unsuspended the card, Mabruk. Next, we will start doing the cards. How do you do the cards? If you go back to the main page, you can see now instead of showing 0, 0, 0, it will show 74 cards that you just unsuspended. You moved from your storage into your new box, and now you can see 74 is in your new box, so you can start. So you click on the ANKI, you click on this button like here, and you click on study now, and that's how you will get started into the algorithm we mentioned before for each single card. Perfect. And that's usually typically the workflow of how you can incorporate this after finishing a resource. Now, like some people might be saying this is too much. Is like generally, again, the more you do it, the more it becomes second nature to you. Unless you finish your research, you go, okay, I have to do my ANKI cards now. The amount of people here who like the people within my batch who I taught this algorithm to, like they were like, oh, they were so confused initially, they didn't understand it, and I believe most of them still don't even understand majority of it till now. However, the fact that it became second nature, it becomes like just khalas. And I get the idea, and you just do it. For the sake of people who are advanced and who wants to learn a little more, I will explain some of the settings and the importance of each of the settings. So if you see the ANKI deck on the most right, you can see like a star, right? If you click on it, there'll be an options like down. You click on it, there'll be like a list of things you can click, and there's options. I want you to shift and click these options. I think the video showed you how to do it if you watched the video. And this page should come up, right? And because I promise I will explain some of these settings to you in the video, I will explain it here. So the first, how this page will come out, and it will be in this new cards tab first. generally I'll just talk about the highlighted stuff because it's like there's some importance to it. So if I remember correctly, the boxes I talked about, it's called steps, and you can see the 25 minutes here, you can see the 1 day here. So it's all changeable. It's not like, you know, it's not like Anki does it for you. No, it's you have to set it yourself. And that's why it's very important to go back and watch the videos and go through the recommended settings and go watch, like learn how to do it, or like follow the video. Next, the orders itself. So basically, the 74 cards you just unlock, how do you want it to be shown, right? How do you want the flashcards to be shown to you? One by one, like there's two options, kind of in order added, like logic from oldest to newest, or into through like random. Some people like it random. I personally like it according to order added because it makes more sense to me. New cards per day. This is 999. But from based on what I do, I basically do all the cards I unlock, right? Or that should be the typical goal. Any cards you unlock, you should try to do it awal bawal, or like as you do it, as soon as you unlock it. So you can leave it 999, but you can change it to whatever you want. This is changeable. For the next tab, which is the reviews, the only thing that I want to mention is that the maximum reviews per day is 999, as I recommended in the video, and must be that and never changed, because all review cards that you are given that day must be done. More important than anything, right? And I explained what the importance of it in the algorithm before. Next is the lapses, which is technically the relearning phase, and it's the same thing. You don't need to go through it. So the nice thing about this is that if you keep, like, if you graduate the card and then you relearn it again, and you graduate the card and relearn it again, if you do it 8 times, Anki says like, oh, okay, something is wrong. Huh? Either something is wrong with you, or something is wrong with the card. So it tags the card just to make sure that, oh, this card you keep getting it wrong. So make sure if the information in the card is correct, or you are like you have to sit down and memorize it properly now. Next is the general tab. I have this highlighted, is that I recommend that everybody put the timer to 20 seconds. That, you know, even after 20 seconds, it will open the card either way. It will answer the card no matter what. I recommend this because Anki is not only for memory retention, it's also for memory recall, right? So I want you to be trained in both retention and recall. So I want you to know how to answer the card and know how to answer the card quick. So the fact of the matter is, like, if I don't answer the card within 20 seconds, I usually click either hard or again, more or less, from my side. And this is the reason is for the aforementioned benefit. Next, there's some like nice to have, like nice to learn. So there's a different preference tab. On the top, you can see there's like file, tool, whatever. If you click the tools, there should be a preference. And you can see if you open the preference, there should be like this. And there's a scheduling tab. You click on the scheduling tab. There's two settings I want you to keep in mind. Is that there's a setting that you can change called like mixing of new cards and reviews, because sometimes you have reviews from your old days, your previous days. You have like cards from your previous days, and you have like new cards but that you just learned. So how do you want it to be shown to you? You want it to be mixed? You want it to show review then new, or you want to show the new then review, right? Me, I personally, because I am an advocate for finishing the review cards early, I typically show the new cards after the review. So I finish all my reviews, then I'll start with the new cards. Next is the next day start. So basically, for the people who likes to stay up at night, you can change it. So instead of like the next day being counted as 12 a.m., you can change it into like 4 a.m. Like, as for me, I put it like at Fajr time, so in case I stay up till Fajr. So and you can also learn ahead, but learn ahead, this is it's a little too complicated. Just forget about it. Yeah, you can read about it later. Another thing to help, right? There's two functionalities that's like you have to keep in mind. There's a sync functionality. So if you click on this sync, you'll be asked to make an account and whatnot. And this account can be used to sync to your various devices, like your iPad, your phone, your Android, both your Android and iPhone, and other computers as well. And this is very helpful in that, when you sync all of your information into the cloud or into their cloud, you can do your cards anywhere in any device. Unfortunately, I have to preference this that the iOS app of Anki is actually cost $20 because based on what they said is that That's where the most of the funding of development comes from. So sorry, Apple users, I guess. Next is you have to keep up with your streak. Basically, there's an add-on which shows you like a streak of how often, like the day you do your cards or not. So basically, this, for example, this is my actual real streak. I just started my step 2 deck, for example, and you can see I have 11-day streak. So basically, I've been doing the reviews 11 day, and generally gives you motivation to do it. So basically, for people who have used Snapchat before, like when you snap streak someone, it's the same idea. It uses that part of your brain to trick you to doing more cards or to do that card that day. So people say now when you should do the new card, when you should start, but not like when you should do it after each chapter, after each resource. To be honest, I typically do it because I'm not in a hurry, but people who are in a hurry, who are in a hurry are usually like they do multiple videos per day, right? And they have to unlock all the videos, and usually that stacks up to like 500, 600 cards. I don't have time for that, like some people say. So you can pace it, right? You don't have to do it all at once, right? You can do it according to your needs, right? It's all, again, like I said, new cards are not a must. New cards you can open depending whenever you want. You can move that new card to your learning box whenever you want. But the moment it moves to your learning box, that's where the line, the solid line comes in and says, no, then you have to start doing it daily. But generally, before that, you can pick and choose when you can do it. So you can do it like whenever you want. So, but for the sake of review cards, you have to do it. So if you have to do, there's daily cards you will be doing, right? So you have to try to find time. You can do it in the morning, right when you wake up, when you're if you're someone's driving you in the car and on your phone before you go to bed. Any small like tidbits of time you can just be doing ANKI. And like how many cards you should unlock, again, it really depends on how much resource you did. If you do it a lot, then you just try to unlock as much as you can. However, like people, this comes from Aziz. He recommends you to just graduate the card. Like for example, the easy buttons for him is very useful because like for the very easy cards, خلاص, you send it to the most furthest box interval. Like خلاص 10 days, 13 days, and you just keep clicking easy, and it goes to interval base. So it just reduces the amount of cards you can see per daily basis. But generally, like again, it's all depending on your studying plan and studying scheme. So don't worry about it. Just last time to preference this, right? You should follow up with your review cards, and that's all I ask of this ANKI, right? Learning how the workflow is important, and you do it. But the moment you start, you should try to follow it up. Now, I just preference the importance of following up, but in reality, there's optional. You can watch this video to learn how to miss days, right? You can either plan ahead. For example, I know my exam is in 2 weeks, right? I don't want any cards in these 2 weeks. You can learn how to plan ahead without affecting the algorithm too much, or you can make up for skipped days. But again, this is for the most extreme of cases, right? I recommend. For me, this is my personal favorite is where I can use a controller, like if you have an Xbox or PlayStation controller for the boys, or take it from your brothers if you're a girl. You can use an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller to control to do the buttons. So typically you can press space to press good and the keyboard 1, 2, 3, whatever. I don't like that. I just have a controller in my hand, lay back, and just do the card. So for me, for example, A is my unlocking the card and clicking good. X is my hard, B is my again, etc., etc. This is interesting. Like you can watch it and learn how to do it, but I personally like it, and it increases the pace of doing the cards so much faster if doing just in the mouse and keyboard. So again, this is outside the scope of our like presentation. So if you are interested, the video links are here. I was gonna send I think we're gonna send the PowerPoint presentation to all after we're done. And yeah, we're done. Congratulations everybody for sticking with me till the end. I'm sorry if I took so much time and I made it too complicated than necessary. And I'm here for any questions or any remarks. Just like before I end it, this is not a necessary like it's not like, oh, if you don't do ANKI you're failing. Don't think like that, but you should try to learn about it, try to get into it, because it's a very important and a powerful tool you must know. So that's it. I'll move on to the next resource, I guess.
Thank you so much, Raz. Truly an ANKI master. Yani, I don't know what we will do without you, to be honest. That seems like a lot of complicated, but you did make it much more simpler than it is. Thank you so much. Yes, so I think I'll start next and later we can take the break. I think everyone is up with us, right? Okay, guys, so with no much time more spent here, I'll be taking you through AMBOSS. Through all my presentation, I'll be focusing on points that are plus for AMBOSS to be used in IFOM. I'm not going to go through AMBOSS as a website as a whole, what features it has, but I would really emphasize on the points that make AMBOSS, that may make AMBOSS actually a good study resource for your IFOM exam, okay? And I have a gift at the end of my presentation from AMBOSS. So basically, you may all know that AMBOSS is just a website that contains many articles from many disciplines and so on. So we will see together how we can make the best out of it as a whole. I'll take you through my presentation for setup, study features, and we'll be talking about some collaborations that AMBOSS do have. We also have the Q Bank, and we have also the study guide and plan. And lastly, we'll talk about subscription. At the end of the day, cost effectiveness is a key feature once you choose your resource. So that's what we are going to say at the end. So initially, when talking about the setup, if you would ask me what would be the most salient feature of AMBOSS, I would say one thing, that using AMBOSS, you can adjust your study plan according to your examination that you are choosing. You can adjust it if you want to take IFOM, if you want to take USMLE, if you want to take step 1 or step 2. So according or taking into consideration the cost effectiveness in a way or another, AMBOSS really provides. It's like, unlike other resources, we're talking about UWORLD, for instance. Your subscription for step 1 is independent totally from your subscription in step 2. Same for boards and beyond. So, but in AMBOSS, actually, it does not matter whether you're a student in a pre-clerkship or a student of the clerkship or even a clinician. All of this can be adjusted in one account and you can choose the relevant setup. So if we can see here in your case, IFOM, and then you can choose the IFOM Basic Science examination, and the study area of focus is going to be analogous to USMLE step 1. Now, this is very important to set initially, because once we talk more about the study features or how you can make your study efficient in that point of time, you may need really to make or to shorten the articles and to only show the high yield points. And therefore, it all depends on what really current area of focus you are choosing. So the study objective is very, very important to set initially. After you set up, you are free now to all discover what AMBOSS do have from other features. So we'd go step by step with the really important features that you really must take into consideration if you're using AMBOSS for IFOM. First, you would have articles by discipline and system, and that's good. So you'd really see the systems in a neat matter, what you are missing, what you need to study, and to tackle everything regarding pathology, physiology, anatomy, pharmacology, and so on. And of course, all of this is in the library, and the library has unlimited articles and experience, where you can choose from basic science, clinical knowledge, or clinical skills. Whereas, but in IFOM, one stage, you would find everything relevant to your examination is in the basic science tab. Next, we would have the articles. So the articles are the thing that is resourceful for us. See, as an example here, I'm having a screenshot of the congestive heart failure article. So it has many features, as you can see, but it's really sometimes would be time consuming to read all of that. And that's why each article has some certain modes that you can really adjust to have a time efficient studying. For instance, if you can see up there, you would have a clinician mode, a high yield mode, a learning radar, and a highlight mode. All of this is going to ease your study and to grasp whatever it's important, taking into consideration that you're supposed to have already took the details about these important subjects. So after just maybe enabling all of these modes, you would have a concise, high yield, highlighted points that you really need to know about your exam about this certain topic according to the setup that we all have set. For instance, the IFOM that we just the HTML one that we already have set it up. So here is just an example, and we're going to talk more about the other features like clinician, what does it add, and learning radar is also a really helpful tool. It enables you to see what areas you did have a mistake in it while solving the questions, and it's going to highlight it in red so that you can really revisit it again and again. So it has also kind of follow up on whatever and your progress according to each and every article. Here also we have thirdly the images and diagrams. It's very fascinating, really, like the diagrams of AMBOSS. I used to open only the article and download the images and also put it on my iPad in the notes. And these actually are good plans to revise and to study the day before exam, because you know, guys, that you already are done with the majority of the bulk at this stage. Like at end of year 3, you should be done with the cardiovascular system, the respiratory, hematology, all of these bulk systems. You should be done already with it, and it's going to be really difficult to go through each and every article there. But that's why there are some features that you can use, like the high yield part, and even the exactly for OSPP material. So the images, you can just revise them and see what exactly you can really grasp out of it in a time efficient manner. At the end, so many articles are just a revision for you guys at this stage. The fourth thing, which is my favorite, to be honest, is imaging interpretations. Now, in our exam IFOM, we've attended it 3 times. Yani the college provides you 3 times to enter the exam. And it has a lot of CT scans, chest X-ray interpretations, and so on. So like radiology can be at a point of time really challenging for some students, especially that you would really miss things if you do not really know the very normal looking of the CT scan or the chest X-ray. So this study feature in AMBOSS really provides us with overlay and description of each and every image in if it's radiology or if it's a specimen, if it's an ECG or whatever it is. Like for instance, we have this chest X-ray that looks very normal, but AMBOSS do have some features of overlay that can show you the details according to this. So you may expect that such details would give you an insight if there is an injury in the right parasternal region. And they ask you which cardiac chamber is affected. You would think that is because I know the radiological features is the right atrium, and you should know that because if any anterior injury or a stab wound in the anterior part is going to be likely the right ventricle. All of this studying just the normal of this chest X-ray with this perfect overlay. So if we can also see, this is for the normal, we can also see abnormalities that can be also highlighted or overlaid in AMBOSS. So this, for instance, remarks the left ventricular hyper enlargement. So you can see here clearly that you can point. This is, I said, it's not only for radiology, but also can be for specimens. Like here you see that there is a heart specimen. And in fact, we did have specimens in our IFOM examination. It was the circle of Willis and showing showing an aneurysm in the anterior circulation and asking you what is the increased risk, the patient is at increased risk of which condition. So your ability to localize such things is very, very important. And that's the feature that you can really get out of AMBOSS. And we can see also here, it can also give you more radiology. Hence, this is, for instance, a point of care ultrasound done, and you can see clearly showing the effusion and other parts as evident here in the overlay. The fifth feature actually is the article question bank. Now, we know that any sort of studying is divided into two phases, like you have the pre-dedication phase and the dedication phase. So the pre-dedication phase is about your journey at which you inquire as much information as you can, so that you are able to you can boost your knowledge and information, and then you apply whatever you have learned in the pre-dedication phase. In the dedication period, that is where you apply your knowledge, which will mostly be questions in this part. So here AMBOSS provides you a checkup for your pre-dedication effort, that is the information acquirement. So at the end of each article, you'd have a QBack session that is going to be all about whatever you have read. Okay, and for instance here you would have 14 questions to do. Remember that this is part from the pre-dedication period, because while you're solving the questions, you know already that you are being tested in congestive heart failure. Therefore, you would direct your diagnosis and management and so on according to this diagnosis. So it's a checkup for your pre-dedication period. Now, third of all, we may talk about collaborations that AMBOSS has. Now, AMBOSS really would show you multiple features. There is sort of collaboration between ANKI, and so there is a specific add-on for AMBOSS in ANKI. And I think that whatever Rizq has showed you is already involving AMBOSS add-on. There is also a subscription with Osmosis and Pharma database that is really interesting, and we will see now what we can talk about. So this is the AMBOSS and ANKI collaboration. You may download it, and there is a detailed crash course about how you can, but Rizq already has done a great job doing that. Second, Osmosis. So you know that some Osmosis video actually requires subscription. But the moment you have an AMBOSS subscription, you'd automatically have all videos of Osmosis incorporated in your articles. So any article you would find at the end of the summary, the Osmosis video. So you really do not really need to subscribe for Osmosis if you wish to see videos for further points. Third of all, there is a new feature that I may think that it may be a little bit advanced at this stage, but to be honest, while I was preparing for IFOM, I really used it, and I needed it so much. So it's an incorporated pharma database inside AMBOSS. So like, for instance, we all know that there is certain drugs that are used in multiple conditions. Like, for instance, let's say beta blocker. We all know that beta blockers can be used in hypertension, cardiac failure, can be also used in hyperthyroidism, in cirrhosis, and so on and so on. So here, if you really study each drug and you would like, I remember where this drug also was used. I was the kind of person that I would really like to have the drug there and its uses and indications all below it. And that's really what I spent much time of pharmacology looking about the uses of all of these drugs, so that I can connect ideas all together. But AMBOSS has this one feature that it incorporates a pharma database that can really help you in really relating the uses and the indications for certain well-known drugs that you really need to know about. Like, for instance, as mentioned last week's session, antihypertensive, anti-arrhythmic, anticoagulants, anti-diabetics, and these things that are really high yield to know for your examination. So you can see here, like you would find whenever you search about a certain drug, you will find the drug icon over there. This indicates that you are going to have a detailed list of all the information you need about the drug. Okay, so this, for instance, atenolol is a beta adrenergic blocking agents, and I don't really advise to go beyond that uses, indications, and cautions, which is like adverse effects, because that's what required at IFOM 1 stage. But definitely, as I told you, you can adjust the setup for your AMBOSS account, and you can use this in the clear phase also as AMBOSS has all one account for all the steps that you have. Another drugs, like would we talk about, I said anticoagulants of these warfarin. So also for such drugs, you really you need to know also about how should I reverse its effect. And we had this question 3 times repeated in our IFOM examination. Patient is coming bleeding, and the patient is known on warfarin. How to reverse warfarin effect? And like the answers included vitamin K, as most of you would assume, but actually if the patient comes bleeding, you really need to start first fresh frozen plasma, as you need to re-establish coagulation factors before. So the details of all of this maybe going to be more drug concise than that you really need to work more a little bit so that you can find them and to have a complete vision about what you're going to do in exact steps. Okay, so that was about studying features in general, but at the end, once you are done with the pre-dedication phase, now you are in your dedication phase where you apply everything that you have learned about. And here where question bank comes. So you really create your question bank that is upon your choice, your exam, your symptoms, the articles, if you would really pick. And you also can assess or choose the difficulty of the questions that you would really wish to. Now in AMBOSS, you would have the difficulty ranging from 1 hammer, 2 hammer, 3 hammer, 4 and 5 hammers. Now we would really encourage you to only stick to 1, 3, 2 and the 3 hammers, because 4 rarely comes into examination. Like this, it's the test only for an average medical student. It won't go beyond. So we really advise you to stick to these, but if you nail them, then you're free to go to 4 and 5 hammers. Actually, one of the complaints that we receive AMBOSS questions are a little bit difficult. So from here, you can just adjust the difficulty, and then you can start your question bank. Now, for the questions session, you do have 2 modes that I find really, really interesting and helpful. An exam mode and a study mode. The exam mode looks exactly the way how UWORLD and the IFOM actually examination looks like, and it gives you the exam, the same exact time, the same exact features. Whereas in the study mode, it has additional features, as you can see. Now, additional features here in AMBOSS is that you can have up to 1,000 questions, not only limited to 40, whereas I guess in UWORLD is limited to UWORLD. I would agree really that maybe having a lot of questions is not good, but if you really approach your examination period and you want to test yourself in an exam-like situation, the first block of IFOM is 80 questions. So if you really want to like do a mock for you, you would really have to test initially 80 questions. So that's at the end, of course, when you approach your examination. So a little bit of the features in the question bank under the study mode is that you have the highlights, and it gives you the chance, if you did not know the answer initially, you can also add additional features like key info. For instance, it's going to underline the buzzwords that are going to be sufficient actually to know the answer. But if you did not know the answer, you would click additionally to attending tip. I was going to have some sort of giving you the diagnosis if they are asking what's the finding or maybe what's the next step of management, and then you can really direct your answer where really you think the correct answer is. And of course, under each answer, you would really find the explanation whether it's the correct or incorrect answer, and alongside the percentage. Of course, it's going to also give you an analysis for you. But what really I like about this study mode is that you can keep on trying in the answers till you find the right answer. So like, for instance, in the study mode, or for instance, in UWORLD, whatever it is, you have only one time to choose your answer. And we said that we are using now the questions as a learning tool and not as an assessment tool. So you may be confused between 2 answers, and as time passes by, you may acquire the skills of how to choose between the 2 answers. But like, to acquire this skill, it's really important to try different answers till you really get the correct answer. Lastly, for whoever really wish to have only a study plan that is questions directed, questions based, And those people who really follow plans details, like when say that you have a dedicated 4 hours a day for 4 days a week, this is a good option that you can really try. That is the study plan. So here you can see that you can just put what you are studying for, and when you finish or studying it, or when exactly you start your examination. And according to that, you can also adjust your study time each day. So here is giving you that each day, each 1 hour is going to be equivalent for 20 questions. So if you put 4 hours, you are going to solve 80 questions in this given time. And you also can choose the study dates. And after that, you can create your plan according to the setup that we have previously set. And you would also have all weeks along ahead, without of course just assigning a particular articles. It gives you according to the setup that you have. For instance, here I'm setting up USMLE step 1, so I would really have all the articles that are related to this particular examination randomly assigned to a group of questions every week and every day according to the plan that I set, of course. And this is whenever you finish a day, you can start the other, and you cannot really go to the other before starting the before. And what's really important about this is that it gives you at the end a detailed analysis of what really you lack in, which field you really lack in, and gives you study recommendation upon it. So this, in case you do not really wish to start the articles, it's a very, very good thing to study to start with for whoever really follows plans precisely. There is an additional feature that I really also followed it during my last summer, that is the study guide. So AMBOSS has a study guide. I'm going to send you the link at the end of the presentation, at which you have, it's written that it's for clinical examination. However, it has all the pathologies under certain categories. So for instance, if you can see here cardiology, you'd find, like, for instance, here you have principles of coronary artery disease, acute coronary syndrome, and so on. So it's like a mean at which you can really assess how the pathologies that I really need to know upon this discipline, did I master it, or at least I have checked it or no. So for instance, you can see here is the hepatology, jaundice and cholestasis is one of the topics. You just need to click on this particular article, and if you have an account, it will direct you towards it immediately. And once you are done with it, maybe you can, it's loading here. If you are done with it, you can just click on it and move on. I use it just to make sure that at least I know يعني everything, or at least some of everything, because like knowing a little bit of everything better than knowing everything about one thing, so that at least you'd have really a good overview of all the pathologies in each system. Lastly, so we have here the subscription. We are done almost in the question bank and the study features that AMBOSS had. Now we come to the subscription. As I said, that it's kind of a cost-effective website. Actually, a yearly subscription is around $99. But what I really want to grab your attention here is that this comes with all the articles, with all the features that I have discussed, except that you have a limit of 50 questions per month. So if you have the yearly subscription, it comes only with 50 questions per month. And if you want to upgrade this, you really need to add more add-ons, and that requires more subscription. Like you choose that unlimited question bank access is going to be for 1 or 3 or 6 or 12 months. Now, AMBOSS had added for the subscription of 1 and 3 months, but 6 and 12 months are still valid, still the same price. And that's why I would really encourage to go one of these. But if you really need it for only your examination period, 3 months is going to be applicable, since your your examination is going to be almost in August, so 3 months from now. And that's what really is worth noting in the subscription. Now, what I'll be doing is that I got you a link, guys. AMBOSS usually provides a 5-day tutorial, 5-day trial, sorry, free access, so that you can get along the website. Now, usually we really require more, and I myself really need to try the resource first, then so that I can see if it suits me or not, so I can continue on it or not. So I got you a link that gives you an access if you sign it with your QU email account. a 10 days free trial. So you have 10 days to try AMBOSS with all of its features, the study plan, the question bank, and so on. And the same link, actually, if you just sign up for it, it's going also to be a group discount code. So if we get 20 signups, they are going to give you 20% discount. If we have 50 and more, they are going to give you 40% discount. So yes, so I'll be sending you this link alongside the a question, the study guide, plus the ANKI link on the presentation after a while, and also we'll be sending this in your officials. So I hope that really provides you with a good understanding of almost everything around about what you really need to know about AMBOSS. As I said, that it's not really for IFOM 1 and that's it. Actually, you can use it through all your medical life, like even if IFOM 1, IFOM 2, even as clinicians. I use it personally in the rotations in the clerkship, where it can be easily downloaded in your mobile phone. Ragad, is there is a reschedule option for the study plan? I'm not sure, to be honest, but I think it's no. If you miss a day, it won't unlock the day after, so you have to do the day. But you can create another course study plan if you really want to reschedule it. But the reschedule option, I'm not aware if it exists or not. Yes, so the question bank actually do have more features like note taking. You can save the questions in a file. You can share them between AMBOSS and non-AMBOSS users. So if you need a help in a particular question or to challenge your colleagues, you can also show. You can also write notes and add resources of different screenshots. Yes, you are right, Lubna. I think everyone maybe is little bit needs a break, a coffee break. So before going to the third and last resource, that is UWORLD, presented by our colleague Ammar, we would have maybe a 5 minutes break if you really think you should have. Okay, so see you 5 minutes after.
hope you all got a good break, as I believe we are running a little bit late, so I'm going to start right away. Share my screen. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, Ammar, perfect. We hear you. Now is better.
Thank you. So after the brilliant presentations by my colleague Joaha and Rizq about the AMBOSS and ANKI, I'll be taking you through the UWorld. So the outline of my presentation would be like this, but I can skip it safely, I think. So I'll start with defining UWorld. What is UWorld? It's basically an online learning platform, and you will later know why I highlight this one. And it is used to prepare for high-stake exams, not necessarily medically, but also other exams. But the main thing is USMLE, which is our concern. So it was launched in 2003, and it's basically about Q banks that it provides. And there are currently more than 3,600 questions in the Step 1 Q bank. And there's also a separate Q bank for Step 2 clinical science, which comprises more than 4,000 questions. So what's really special about UWorld is the quality of the questions it provides, as they will resemble the level of questions asked in the international exams such as USMLE. And this is where it becomes the most important source of for preparation for such exams. And the questions are accompanied with very clear and concise explanations as well. And it's one of the top-rated resources for USMLE preparation, as listed in first aid. As if you are not convinced why to use UWorld, I'll be taking you through some key features that are provided by UWorld. So the first and foremost important feature is the customizability of your exams, of your test blocks that you can create. So you can create your test blocks customized according to your unique study needs and goals that you want to accomplish. So hopefully I can take you through the live, the actual interface of the website to show you the customizability or how to create a test. Is my screen shown to you?
You can see it, Ammar. It's good.
Okay. So if you open your UWorld interface, you'll have these tabs here, and from here you can create a test, and it will ask you to choose your modes according to which you want to create the test block. So there are different modes. There are two modes actually for the test. You can turn on the tutor mode to have the correct answers and the correct answer and the explanations for the correct and incorrect answers after each question you solve. Okay, whereas if you have it turned off, you will just proceed to the next question without even knowing your if you answered the question correctly or not. The second mode, which you can turn on and off, is the timed mode, which if you turn on, it will limit the time that you can solve your questions in. And typically it gives you 90 seconds per question. So if you create a test block with 10 questions, for example, you will have 900 seconds, which is around 15 minutes to solve your whole test block. After that, it will close by itself. Whereas if you turn it off, then you will have unlimited time to solve it, while the time is registered for each question as you do them. For the question modes, this is through this you can choose the pool of questions you want to drag your questions from. For example, if you choose unused pool of questions, you will be getting questions that you have never seen before. Whereas if you want to do your questions that you got wrong previously, you can choose incorrect and and the number of questions available in this pool will be shown as well beside the option. Then you have the options. Actually, the questions in UWorld are categorized based on subjects, which are anatomy, physiology, pathophysiology, whatever, and also according to systems and the domains. So you can choose between them as according to your study needs, and you can create your questions from whatever pool you want. So in our recommendations, we'll have some talk about how can you start choosing the systems according to what you are studying. So the last thing, you can choose the number of questions you want in your you want to include in your test block. You will have a maximum of 40 questions per block, as the USMLE does, because USMLE has almost 7 blocks with each block containing 40 questions. So it kind of mimics that and limits the number of questions to 40, whereas there is no lower limit for the number of questions. So that's how you create your test blocks. Moving on to the second key feature, which are the challenging questions that you will provide. Actually, nothing to hide. They are actually difficult, and they are mostly real-life clinical scenarios and designed to test very high-yield basic science concepts when I'm talking about step 1. So the questions are created by practicing physicians, which is an added point, and the questions are continuously updated, and they are very dynamic and to stay up to date with the medical advancements and also the updated USMLE guidelines. So you will notice if you have your account that the number of questions continuously are being updated and so on. So this is the test interface, which is similar to the USMLE interface and also IFOM interface, because the interface is similar to the NBME, and this highlights that the question bodies are real life clinical scenarios, and when you solve a question in the tutor mode, you'll have something like that showing the correct answer and the percentages of answers for each option. Okay, the third thing, the third key feature I'll be talking about is the in-depth explanations that are accompanying each question. So the explanations, what is unique about them is the vivid illustrations that really help understanding the contents. And the second thing in the explanations you'll find is the explanation of the correct answer that is based on the topics. So they will review the concepts on the topics that the question is asking about. So for example, if the question is about celiac disease, you might be asked about the management, but in the explanation you will have many key important points about celiac disease that will be helpful in understanding the topic. And then you will have the detailed explanations for the incorrect answers, which are also a vital or a crucial source for information. The vivid illustrations I was talking about are these could be these diagrams that are very clear and important, and you can use them to review many concepts. The tables that are famous for UWorld, and all of these are exclusive to UWorld, and you will not be able to find them anywhere else. So these tables summarize chunks of information very neatly and clearly. There are also flowcharts that summarize difficult or complicated processes. There are clear, good quality ECGs. There are real clinical images and also radiographic pictures that are labeled for comprehensive understanding. This is how an explanation of an answer looks like. First, you will have the discussion of the topic related to the correct answer, and there will be concepts of focus on the topic of the question. Later, you will have the explanation for the incorrect answers separately. The fourth key feature, which could not be exclusive to the UWORLD, but it's the ability to track your performance and improvement throughout your journey through UWORLD. They highlight the relative strengths and weaknesses in the systems and in the subjects. After you do a test block, they will show you how did you do in each of the in questions that are derived from different subjects and systems. You can track your own performance through statistics, how many percentages of questions you got right, etc. You also can compare your statistics with your peers to get a boost. Okay. Now this shows this I discussed earlier, that it can show you the percentage of answered questions, which also a good way to track your performance. The fifth key feature would be the ability to plug questions, and we recommend using this to for the questions with a good summary, for example, or you find difficult, so that you can easily find them to review later. And yeah. And the sixth key feature would be the flashcards that are incorporated into the UWorld, and they are updated. And of course, flashcards help in improving retention and customizing the space repetition. It's more or less like ANKI, but ANKI is quite like supreme to the flashcard options in the UWorld, so we recommend that. But still, if you wish, you can use the flashcard options in the UWorld. And there is a link for the explanations. It's quite similar to the ANKI. The seventh key feature would be the note-taking options. Actually, there are two options to take notes. I will try to show them here live. Okay. You have two options. First one is to take notes for your question. Like inside the question, you will have this button at the top. You can take notes here if you wish, and these notes will be registered under the question ID. Okay, so you can write whatever, and this will be specific to this question. And the second way to take notes would be the my notebook, and you can use it to register any notes under any title you want, and this will be accessible from the main interface or inside the exam. And these are useful for a reason, which is UWorld doesn't allow you to copy paste. So if you want to keep your many information from many questions, you can just keep them and save them in the notebook very easily. And you also can incorporate some information from your FTL from other resources inside your notebook. So this is about notes, and also as other as other resources, UWorld also provides multiple device options. You can download your UWorld application in your iPad or mobile phones. And it's simplified and very user-friendly, and it contains almost all the features that are provided by the website. And of course, using your mobile phone, you can practice the questions anywhere, and you can use your time. The other features of UWorld is that if you subscribe for 6 months or for more than 6 months, you will have you will be provided with a self-assessment, which is very similar to the USMLE. You will have very different questions that are not found in the UWorld question banks that you do. There will be different questions, and these will be there will be 4 blocks, and you can assess yourself, and you will get at the end of the self-assessment a 3-digit number like the USMLE. And also there are premium search options that you can use to search through your through all the questions and your notes inside the UWorld. So let's talk about advantages of doing questions versus not doing questions, only studying from resources. So what I have to say here is that succeeding in a long exam, such as IFOM, USMLE, it's not all about the knowledge that you learn. It's also about correctly applying the skills that you learn, the information and the knowledge that you get, right? And then you need to calibrate those skills toward the exam you want to take. For example, USMLE and IFOM. So since the USMLE questions are very similar to the questions you get in those exams, practicing them will repeatedly will prepare your mind to be comfortable with the actual exam. So the UWorld questions actually challenge you with difficulty and with difficult clinical vignettes, and this challenge will highlight the areas of deficiency, and so that you can go back and study them. And you can also develop it can help you develop the skills of elimination. What I mean by elimination is that the ability to, if, for example, for a question, if you don't know the correct answer, you can still eliminate some answer and reach to the correct answer quite effectively if you master this skill. Also, pattern recognition and clinical reasoning. What I mean by them is that many diseases, many diagnoses have certain presentations that are يعني known for them. So, for example, pancreatitis can present with epigastric pain that radiates the back. For example, SLE presents only in females, or I mean, it's most common in females, and they can present in exam only in females. So if you have an autoimmune condition that is presenting in males, you can sometimes eliminate SLE from your options because it's not presenting in females, and so on. So it can help you develop these skills. So, and if you are using timed mode, you will be challenged and gradually earn the time awareness and efficiency in solving exam questions, and you will find yourself to be faster in solving questions. So let me highlight some ways to effectively use UWorld now. So the earliest thing I'll say to you is to start early. It's totally okay to start a question block not knowing too much about what you are answering. Why I'm saying this is that many people say that I'm not ready to challenge myself. I'm not prepared for this now. However, since we say that UWorld is not an assessment tool, as the point is coming later, you can use UWorld still to learn instead of assessing yourself. So you can customize your test blocks as I showed you earlier by selecting the system you have completed already, or you are good at, or you are currently reviewing. So you can get your questions in both systems and be able to answer them. And one of our recommendations is that you shouldn't do more than 40 questions a day at the start, because believe me, they take time. Because you are not only answering questions, but rather you need to do the review for them, and they consume time. So you should not exceed 40 questions. You should focus on your studying, the mastering the other resources, and also doing questions. So you should do both. And as you approach the exam, you should randomize the blocks. It is in the opposite to the second point I mentioned here, because randomizing the blocks will add an exam-like feeling to you, because if you customize your blocks to a certain system, for example, you will know at the back of your mind that your questions are, for example, cardiology questions, and you will automatically eliminate any other options that are not cardio, for example. So randomizing blocks as you approach the exam is a good idea. And besides the tutor mode to learn, you should sometimes like from time to time use timed mode with tutor mode turned off to have a whole exam-like feeling. Um, so you will not get any correct answers after the questions, and you will also be limited in time. So now we say that UWorld is primarily a learning tool, not an assessment tool. So with that being said, one should really review the questions thoroughly after each block is done if you are not using tutor mode. So if you have done your block, you should go back and then spend enough time to do the review, because reading the explanation for both correct and incorrect answers are very important, because most of the learning happened at that time actually. And it should take time. And so it's found that if you're spending 1 hour, for example, doing 40 questions a block, you should spend 2 to 4 times of the time you spent doing the block in reviewing. So I mean, if you spent 1 hour, then you should spend 2 to 4 hours in reviewing. So it should take time, but it's fine. That's how people learn. You should also accompany your review with looking at other high yield resources. So, for example, first aid. So all of us know that how first aid is difficult. If you open a random page to read, you'll find difficulty in understanding topics. But if you try to link the questions with the topics from first aid, it is really a good idea to master the. So linking resources is recommended. So another important point I would mention here is to avoid excessive focus on numbers. We are medical students and we are driven by data, but we should not overwhelm ourselves and not look at numerical information and let them affect our learning component. So those students who really focus on numbers, they will, in case they got many questions wrong, they will just say, "Oh, I'm getting wrong questions. I'm not prepared. I'll study more. I'll learn more." And at the end, they will have a very slow pace, and that's not an advantage. So one should keep the focus on where it should be, which is to learn the exam content and improve test-taking skills rather than focusing on numbers. So the final thing I would mention is to make use of the features that you will provide. If you are doing questions, you should flag any difficult question or with that a good summary so that you can go back to them anytime very easily. You can also generate flashcards, as I mentioned earlier, for the tables, for example, specifically, you can make flashcards, but ANKI does a good job in covering these, so that will be sufficient. And create your notes if you wish while reviewing the blocks, and you can include the STL information, as I mentioned earlier, from other resources, for example, first aid. And you should install the apps to have the UWorld on go. So now a question that's asked, when should one get UWorld? So as in a case, you're having first attempt of IFOM in this year for the batch 2025. They are having their first IFOM attempt in summer, this summer, and then the second attempt next winter in January, and the third attempt in next summer. And for those those who wish to do USMLE Step 1, they can do it in the next summer as well. So what is recommended is that you get a 1 year Step 1 subscription now in June 2022, so that it continues till the next summer until and covers hopefully your third attempt. And if you wish to continue using UWorld for the USMLE preparation, you can you can renew your subscription that you already got with 3 or 6 months as you deem sufficient. For the step 2 subscription, we really encourage to get step 2 subscription for the clerkship phase, and which starts in January 2023. So you can get 1 year step 2 subscription, which will continue with you. So now let's talk the serious thing. The cost of UWorld. It's actually expensive, however, it's deserved by because of the quality of the questions. So you have all these options: 30 days, 90 days, and 180 days, 360 days. It's actually 360 days, not full 1 year. Anyways, if you compare them with the renewals, you will find that renewals are much cheaper. So if you have your subscription active before it ends, you can it's important to renew them before the subscription ends, because yeah, and then you can extend your subscription for the time period you want with these prices. And one point I want to mention here, that some people reported that the prices that are presented in the applications, and whether it's iPad or phones, are higher for some reason, but you need to check this from the website and then buy it from the website, which is recommended. So our college provides some support with UWorld subscriptions. It actually provides 50% discount on the 1 year step 1 subscription, as we got last year. And the discounted price comes $269, which is almost 9.95 riyal. And there are some rumors that 100% discount is being negotiated, and it could start from the next year. And that's all for my presentation. Thank you so much, and you can approach me for any questions. These are our contact details. And thank you everyone to stick with us till the end.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Fammar, for finishing. And hopefully you enjoyed this resource session. It was all very beneficial for all who stuck with us till the end. And again, we are always ready to answer your questions. Our contact details, I think we mentioned it multiple times. We're always ready to help you the best we can.
Thank you.
So,
thank you, Jawahab, everyone.
So thank you, everybody. So